Hi, this is Andrew Salazar with Donella Drive, and you're listening to Music Existence.
Welcome to another instance of Music Existence, where because of music, we exist. Today, or tonight rather, I have with me Andrew Salazar of Donella Drive. He is part of the band alongside his brother, Aidan Edward Escalante, and drummer Steven Edward Rodriguez. And they have opened for the likes of Deftones, Hail the Sun, and Scary Kids, Scaring Kids. Their sound is pretty much reflective of that, blending alternative rock, post-hardcore, and metal. And now they have a new single out called Simian Transmission, and it is leading off their upcoming album, Axon, slated for release on February 2025. Welcome, Andrew. Thank you for coming on, man.
Oh, man, I appreciate you so much for having me. Thank you. That was a cool introduction, man. Thank you.
Yeah. So I watched that interview with Steven, and he was mentioning that when you and your brother were growing up, you were actually kind of two different people, but was music one of your earliest connections in that regard?
Yeah, I think we always, you know, I was always in bands, because I'm a few years older than him, but yeah, we always, gravitated. I always kind of showed him bands as being the older brother, and for sure, definitely. But I actually feel we're a lot alike, honestly. But yeah, music for sure. That definitely drew us together because I actually taught him how to play. I'm not much of a guitar player, but I taught him everything I knew, and he was only about 8 years old. And yeah, so that definitely started like our connection for sure.
And it's interesting because you've gone through a number of stylistic and membership configurations. And how was that experience, despite not even, being much of a guitar player, teaching your younger brother guitar? Was it kind of like a self-taught thing when you were?
Oh yeah, yeah. I taught him because I'm the bass player, and
Yeah.
I just taught him whatever I knew on guitar, and he just got really good, really quickly, really fast. But he was kind of playing by himself, and then I was playing in bands, and then it got to a point where I was like, man, he's actually really good, and he's old enough to where he could be in a band.
So he can actually keep up with the band by that point.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure, for damn sure, yeah, yeah. He was about 17 when we started the band.
Yeah, and how old were you at that point?
Like 25, 26, somewhere around there.
Okay, so you guys formed Donella Drive in 2012, and by that point it was a little bit different. It had like a bit of a different sound and a bit of a different membership too. What was in your headspace at that point as far as like knowing how each member operated in the band?
Honestly, I feel it's the same, like pretty much the same. But I just think is you're in a band long enough, you kind of grow and you want to try out different things. But it's always the same mentality. We want to just write the best songs we possibly can. You know what I mean? But like I said, right now I think we're messing with song structure and arrangement. But other than that, I think it's the same mentality. I wanted something a little different because I've been playing in metal bands a lot, like strictly just heavy, and I want to just mix up sounds, mix up playing, and my brother was open to that because my brother's not really like a metal guitar player. He doesn't really go for heavy. He just kind of goes for those guitar chords, those kind of
he's a chord-based player, right?
Yeah, for sure. But no, I think it's the same. Like the only thing that changed was probably the people around us.
Yeah, and it's amicable, right? You don't have any like hard feelings with anyone, right?
No, 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 not at all. People, life, happens and people start, having to take on different things. And, for the most part, we still like, I talk to some of the old members to this day,
So
for
you're
sure.
still bonded old friends. That's really important, and that's smart for a band to, even if things change, you maintain
Mhm.
those connections.
Yeah, no, for sure. Definitely. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think, because we were friends before, you know what I mean? For the most part, like, except for a few members. And I think we found one singer on Craigslist, another guitar player. Like we grew up with each other. But the core is always my brother and I in the band. Like we started the band, we're the core, and we always just kind of had different pieces, different revolving pieces
Yeah.
around what we do.
So in
Yeah,
other words, the friendships didn't always revolve around music, right?
yeah, exactly.
It
Yeah,
was just
we like I said,
like
yeah,
around vibes, right?
yeah, just like yeah, hanging out together. We were some of the other members were we were in previous bands together before. Um, yeah, like I said, there was only one member where we found that was on Craigslist. You know what I mean? No, I take it back. We had a drummer we found at the old school way. We went to like the music store and we put the ad on the flyer on the wall, and we had like little like pieces of paper you could rip off with our number on it. Like that's how far back it goes with this band. Yeah, it was like at a Guitar Center ad we had like on the wall, like where they
It's
had all their flyers
interesting
and stuff.
because even
Yeah.
with technology having advanced,
Hmm.
so much by that point, even in 2012,
Yeah.
the flyers were still effective.
Yeah, that's how we got our first drummer. Was
Were
that
you
way, and he stayed like
surprised
that.
that you were able to command that kind of attention? Like, holy shit, this actually still works.
Yeah. No, it was, man. Like I said, I had been messaging people like on Facebook at the time and Craigslist, and yeah, that's how we found our first drum was from a flyer at Guitar Center. And like I said, I was just talking the other day. You know what I mean? It's going back and forth. Um, he's in South Africa right now, building motorcycles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
So is
yeah.
that like so each member kind of regardless if they're present or you know or from a previous incarnation they're sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
They're like they each have different pursuits now.
Oh yeah.
In terms of your own pursuits, do you have any, and do you kind of factor in music even if you're like totally focused on something else?
Yeah, I would say my life pretty much revolves around music. Kind of yeah. Like I still live my life, but I honestly like I feel that whenever I have writer's block, even like just kind of go live some life, go live, go do things, go out and experience things, and those like ideas will come back to you just from living life. So I feel if you keep doing that, you never really run out of ideas because different experiences, different situations can bring out different emotions when you go back to your instrument. That's how I feel. And then just like checking out music, going to a show, or just even just like going, we went on tour in June and we got to experience different, scenery, and you were in the mountains, and then, you know, and I feel like you experience those things and you come back and you write. And yeah, so yeah, like I said, definitely just experience life experiences, like bringing that, and then it'll come back in some way, shape, or form in your music.
Yeah, even when it is
So,
music related. For example, you mentioned going to a show, and
mhm,
especially when you're able to talk to the heroes that you've looked up to, and
mhm.
even
No, for sure.
so far as like playing and interacting with them, I've
Hmm.
you know I've met several musicians that I've looked up to while interviewing, and I'm wondering if you feel similar to me. Is it kind of like your body is on autopilot?
Yes, yeah. I actually I met Head from Corn, the guitar player Head.
Right, yeah, Brian.
I met him a couple weeks ago, and that was pretty crazy. I just at first like I had to like get used to that he was like just there standing. You know what I mean? Kind of just hanging out, and then he started like talking to me about the band and stuff, and I even gave him some stickers. and so that was pretty crazy. And then I've met a few other musicians. I've met Chino from Deftones. I met Eddie Van Halen. Right, like this is like a couple of years ago. Right, well, of course before when was I'm trying to remember when it was, like 2014 maybe
Yeah.
13 14.
So it
Yeah.
was before he passed away.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think when who else I've met. I met Cedric from Mars Volta.
Wow, Cedric.
Yeah, he was actually a really cool guy, and it was random too because my brother and I had saw at the Drive-In Reunited. They played a couple shows. They went on tour, and we were like, oh, let's go to the bar across the street. And we go to the bar, and we're probably there not even an hour. We're like, oh, this sucks. Let's just go home. Well, my brother's like a huge at the Drive-In Mars Volta fan. I mean, so am I. And we happened to see their bus was parked across the street from the bar we were at because the venue was across the street, and there was like not a huge crowd either, like a handful of people there. And my brother's like, "Oh, there's Cedric, there's Cedric." So we ran across the street,
Huh.
and they actually like talked to us and hung out with them. We got a picture with him. Yeah, he was
It's
actually
really
really cool. He
cool.
was the only one out there too, like talking to the people. It was really cool.
And then when you look back on it, obviously, like you're like, I can't believe that fucking happened.
Yeah, it was like I said, it was so random. Like, you didn't expect it. We even had like both of us even had kind of a buzz, even, you know what I mean? Because we had like a few drinks like across the street. So it was very like, oh shit, there it is. Like, oh, like all
It does
excited.
help.
Yeah, for sure. Like it definitely like loosens us up.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so like so you've had a lot of positive experience being on the road, coming back to your music with renewed drive. Let's go back to your first album you did, Anomalous.
Hmm.
What was that experience like as far as what you wanted to create? Because again, we note the change, and before then, Anonymous, from what I can surmise about listening to the trailer, because I couldn't find the original album, but from what I picked up on the trailer, like it definitely sounded a lot more melodic, and there was
Yeah.
a bit different of a configuration there too.
It was on Spotify, but it was we were trying to push other, newer projects and stuff, and newer things we were releasing, and it was like so I guess it had so many streams on it. It was like our number one stuff, like, when you go to like our top five
So it was
songs.
basically like kind of eclipsing everything else.
Exactly. So we were like, you know what, like we need to take it down
Start
because
fresh,
because
right?
yeah, exactly. And that was kind of like I mean, it was the core. The core was there. My brother and I were the core of the band, but by the time we started like putting out new music, we had my brother was already singing, and we had a different drummer. So, but with Anomalous, we had a female vocalist, we had a different drummer, and it was my brother and I. And so, yeah, it was definitely more melodic. We definitely it was very the writing was very to the point, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, outro. Like a lot of the tracks are like that. The arrangements are very, very simple. But yeah, I still like that album to this day. I think we did some really cool stuff. The recording sounds great. Very catered to, um, you know, like I said, we weren't overly heavy. We're just trying to be melodic and make the songs as catchy as possible. Like that's what I think anyway.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
its anniversary is coming up, so you better do something.
Damn, yeah. Wow. I didn't even think about that. Holy crap.
You know, because I know nostalgia is kind of harder and harder to come by, especially in recent times, but it's cool to keep alive.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. No, and I appreciate those songs for what they were. I don't, I just like I said, like my drummer's in South Africa right now. The original drummer who was on that project, then the vocalist, like we're cool on occasion, you know what I mean? We're not, but I don't really talk to her that often. You know what I mean?
Do you
Um,
miss her?
no,
No, you don't.
no, not that I don't miss her. Nah, she's cool. She's funny. She's funny. Yeah. Nah, she's cool.
Yeah. Well, it's again, it's good that you have maintained those connections,
Hmm.
regardless how far apart you may be, and
Hmm.
that you at least have your roots in mind when it comes to, you know, wanting to reintroduce what you got started in. Because,
Yeah.
someone like me, I like to backtrack too. I
Oh
do a
yeah.
lot of that.
No, definitely. If you want to check out that album, check it out. It's on Bandcamp. There's actually a instrumental version of the album, and then there's the version with her on vocals.
Oh, wow.
That
So,
you can check. Yeah, it's on that. Yeah, because we made an instrumental version because at one point we were we were an instrumental. Like after we parted ways with her, we put out an instrumental record to I like kind of like because that's where we were at the time, and then we were hoping that someone would come in and
oh,
write
so
vocals over
so
it. Yeah,
so the instrumental was kind of like to test the waters to see who you can get,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Yes. Hmm. So yeah, but I think it's cool, like how there's like an instrumental version and the version with vocals, because the music I think is still really great. Music, I think it's sick.
It's great that it still resonates with you, and then
Yeah.
Steven's integration into the band
Hmm.
came in 2018 with the song "Golden," and
Yeah.
he pictured himself in the band despite like not really coming from your guys' same background. He was more of a hip hop guy. So
Yeah.
how did you sort of implement those influences and saying like, hey, this guy can really fit in. I like what this guy is doing.
Yeah, like because I always think that our music always had a bounce to begin with. So when we jammed together, like him and I like locked in really tight. Like I knew off the bat, I was like within like probably like 30 seconds of jamming with him, I was like, that's the guy. And it was funny too because um we had like probably like three other tryouts that week, and he was the first one. So after that, like I like we went to the tryouts with these other guys, but I was like,
Right.
Steven was the guy, like you know what I mean, off the bat. So we ended up, yeah, like we're like you dude, you got it, man.
So
So
you knew like, oh man, he's the
yeah,
one.
so yeah, exactly. We had these other tryouts, and I'm not knocking them. They were great players, but he had just like I said, the bounce, the swag. Like he understood the music. He understood what we're trying to do. You know what I mean? And he was a fan of the band before. Um, we had played shows together with his other band he was in, and
Recreating
some good
Eden?
shows too. Yes, yes, we had played shows together, a few shows. They were kind of like our buddy band that we would like. I need a band to play with us. I would hit them up like first, always. You know what I mean? So
And
that's
it's
how like
cool
I'm.
too when you have
Yeah.
like other bands who change membership and you know all the people associated in that band.
Mhm. Yeah. No, for sure.
Like
For
how
sure.
some of the, Smashing Pumpkins, believe it or not, were in like a lot of their bands that they started on
Their
their
peers
label
band.
Scratchy.
Yeah. That's cool.
They shared membership. And it happens a lot in the Seattle scene too. You see a lot of like former members being in like, oh shit, they were in that band too.
Wasn't like the drummer of Pearl Jam in like every band? Just I
Yeah,
think it was
yeah,
in some
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. And then
Soundgarden
and
and
then Dale Crover, the Melvins, was also in Nirvana in their
Nirvana.
first
Yeah.
album.
Yeah.
Um, but it's so cool, and it's cool to have that sort of connection in the scene. And
Hmm.
2020, 2021, another configuration happened where Aidan switch to lead vocals at that point?
Well, he switched to vocals on Golden.
Okay.
We actually put out a track in 2017. We had a drummer in between our first drummer and Steven. We had a drummer, and he did not want us to sing. He refused. He didn't want my brother to sing, and he didn't want me to sing. And so we actually put out the song "Feel Better," and it was the first time I ever sang a song or wrote lyrics to.
I feel better in the morning. I quickly
I did it, and we liked the result. And he actually got the drummer at the time got really mad at us, and that actually led to him like we pretty much were like, "You're out of the band, dude. Like it's not gonna work." Because like I said, he refused to have me and my brother singing and playing our
Oh
instruments.
shit! So that was
Yeah, so
that the only guy who you kind of came to blows with, or?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was kind of like, "I'm not gonna do it. No, I don't want you guys to sing." And we're like, "We're not gonna find a singer. We're not gonna wait around for somebody to save us. We have to save ourselves." So we kind of took it on upon ourselves to just do it ourselves.
Yeah, it's
You know what
like
I mean?
Phil Collins in Genesis, or Dave Grohl in Nirvana coming up to the
Hmm.
forefront and like, what? You're trying to sing now?
Yeah, but yeah, that's what we had to do. So
So
yeah, so
was
that was the
that
first
like
time.
um how did you feel like stepping into those shoes? Was it kind of were you kind of nervous at that point, or were you confident?
Oh, dude, hell yeah, I was super nervous. I had to learn like the thought of playing bass and singing. Like it was a struggle for me. It's a little easier for my brother for whatever reason. He can do it way better than I can, but for me, like I can barely talk and play bass. And but he was better at it, so we ultimately decided that he's going to be the main lead vocalist, and I'll just kind of sing when I can. You know what I mean? And now it's to the point where I sing in like just about every song now. So it's kind of crazy to see where how I started to where I couldn't even talk and sing and play my instrument. Now I'm singing, verses or choruses with them now, doing the harmonies. So
How do you feel
it's a
about
crazy thought.
that? Like as far as like what you can add. I mean, a lot of people think, "Oh, the support vocalist just has a job here and there, whether it's a part of the verse or maybe a part of the chorus, but you
Yeah.
really make sure like you have time to like shine and like really drizzle your vocals in there too and somehow."
Dude, honestly, I don't really think about that. And honestly, my brother, he wants me to sing more.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, you have a prettier voice than I do. And I was like, I don't know, man. And he's like, no, you do. And so he wants me to sing more. And like even on the new album we have coming out, I sing like a whole section by myself. Like it's like a bridge section that I sing by myself.
Well, it's good.
So
You need
yeah,
that. You need that spotlight on you, man, because
yeah.
especially if it's a talent that you possess and it's a
Mhm.
talent that's demonstrably felt by others,
Mhm.
go for it, man.
Yeah. So my brother, he doesn't even say that I'm like a backup vocalist. He's like, I think you're like the second front man. I
Oh,
was like,
cool, man.
damn, okay, like, yeah, I guess kind of like Blink or whatever, how they kind of rotate. Sometimes Tom sings
Oh
or what's the
yeah,
other guy's name?
yeah. Blink and Sloan too from Canada. They do like and the Beatles too. Like sometimes
Yeah, or like
they.
Mastodon even.
Yeah, or even
Yeah,
Metallica, because
yeah,
sometimes, like during live performances, Lars
yeah,
did a cover of Diamond Head, right? Am I Evil?
yeah. I remember Jason. He would sing like whole verses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to their live songs.
So there's got to
Yeah,
be pretty cool to like kind of like get in that mindset of like, yeah, I know I can contribute, and you have, because your bass
yeah.
playing is for what you can do very unique, very melodic, even when it is like a lot of, lots of notes. You're still very clean with your phrasing. And I'm wondering what influences inspire you as a bassist and as an all around musician?
Oh, dude. I mean, I started off playing bass. I was like a huge Metallica nerd, and so Cliff Burton, Jason Newsted, and then my uncle made me buy Tales from the Punch Bowl by Primus,
Yeah,
and
Primus.
yeah, so it's like so I have like five. It's like Cliff Burton, I think Cliff Burton, Jason, like a combo.
And
Like
remember
so,
when Les
yeah,
Claypool auditioned for Metallica and they're like, dude,
yeah,
you got your own
yeah,
thing?
yeah. You're too. He says like I think he says you're too good. Like you got your thing.
But that's
Yeah,
cool. So Primus is definitely, and Les Claypool, he definitely
yeah,
has like that thing, it sounds alternative, but like it has like that bit of like metal edge too, and it's
Hmm.
cool how that comes out, man. So
Yeah.
so really, like, props to you on that, like forging your own path as not only a bassist but a singer too.
Hmm. Thank you, man. Thank you.
And then in 2021, you came out with Ozell, and
Hmm.
so where was your headspace at that point?
You know what's crazy is that during that time when we were writing Ozell, we
Yeah.
were literally in the studio recording Bloomer. So it's like while we were recording Bloomer, we had the because I think it took like a year to record Bloomer, but while we were recording, in between recording, we would get together and practice and write. We were writing Ozell, so it's almost like we were listening to Bloomer and we were like, we have to outdo ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, so I always thought it was weird how we were writing the album while we are in the studio.
You know,
Yeah.
you
So
know what that, you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of how Mariah Carey was doing her like pop albums, and then on the
yeah,
side she would do this grunge project.
yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, it was called Chick, and yeah, I have yet to hear it with her vocals. But
Hmm.
did you, when recording Ozell, was it kind of a similar process where they were like two different styles and you plan to like still incorporate them as part of your identity in some way?
Yeah, I think I don't know if it was necessarily we wanted to get heavier. I think just what we wanted to incorporate more sounds, different styles. Because we're all big fans. You know, we love our metal, but we also love like, my brother's he's really into like electronic music too, and like dub and kind of psychedelic stuff. So we were just trying to incorporate different things. Like, and I grew up on metal. I was a huge metal guy. You know what I mean? Um, so and my drummer, he loves a lot of heavy stuff too. So yeah, so it was just a matter of incorporating different sounds and then trying to outdo ourselves from Bloomer. Not that Bloomer's a bad record because I love Bloomer for what it was, because when we wrote those songs, it was like our kind of our first album after Anomalous, and then we had to replace people, and people were transitioning. So I feel like Bloomer is literally like blooming. It's a transitional album. So you go from Anomalous, Bloomer's like the transition into Ozell, and I feel like Ozell is it's like a culmination of everything we liked at the time, and we're just trying to outdo ourselves.
Mm-hmm. And then
Mhm.
talk about um, the transition in the same way to Simeon transition. Um, I mean, that was an undertaking in and of itself because you actually collaborated with some people in the video. Gun
Yeah,
Show and and I know Peter Karpik was he also did like stuff for Adult Swim. In noticing that your sound as a whole has gotten a
hmm
lot heavier, a lot more metal based.
yeah.
So, talk about that collaboration with Simeon Transmission and how it kind of unfolded and kind of, in a sense, took on a life of its own.
Okay, so my brother was actually a huge fan. There's this hip hop artist. His name is Malibu Ken, and I believe that it's I don't know who he collaborates with, but the hip hop artist is Aesop Rock.
I know. Remember
Yeah,
A$AP Rock from, I think it was like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 or or was it 4? I was
yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
that's
so yeah,
going way
so
back, man.
yeah, for real. So my brother was a fan of that record, and he always like would play the video for one of I forgot which song it was, and he always play the video, and it's just like the video is kind of unnerving, kind of disturbing. It's pretty weird.
It's
My
gross.
brother's like, yeah, it's gross, yes. And so my brother's like, I love that vibe. And like I grew up, I'm a '90s kid, so I grew up on, I remember like watching
Ren
like
and
Liquid,
Stimpy,
Ren and
right?
Stimpy, Liquid TV, like that weird kind of mid '90s like cartoon artwork, Rob Zombie War type shit.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, so I always loved that artwork and that
It's
style.
super 90s, man. Super
Yeah,
saturated colors,
yeah,
everything.
yeah. So that's kind of like the vibe we wanted, like something colorful but dirty and kind of disturbing at the same time. Um, so yeah, like I said, we're big fans of that. And so my brother just slid in his DMs, the artist gun show, and they started talking back and forth, and next thing you know, it turns like a full on collaboration. He did all the artwork for the video Simian Transmission. He's gonna do the cover artwork for our album, and he's even doing some artwork for our second single that we're gonna have coming out. It's called Mindless Embryonic. He's doing the artwork for it's actually the animation sequences because we actually filmed it with a friend of ours. His name is Thomas Casanova, and Gun Show actually made props for the music video for the second single, and the props are crazy looking, dude. Like they look like crazy monsters. Like the first prop looks like it's something you'd see on Yo Gabba Gabba, that kids TV show,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
then he's haunted. Like the character in the video, his name is the Rift Creeper. He's haunted by this like a thing called the Love Goblin. It's like his like love interest, and it's looked like this crazy, disturbing, like gross ass mask with a giant nose, and yeah, it's gonna be a trip. So, and then he's gonna make another animated video for us too, like a full on animation video. So we kind of wanted that mid '90s like a cartoon art because that's the shit we grew on, like that Adult Swim,
Yeah.
late night kind of artwork. You wake up at 2 in the morning and it's on Adult Swim. You're like, the hell's that? Like,
I totally get you, man. Like,
mm,
I grew up on a lot of that stuff too, so like it brought me back in a way. Even though it's a modern representation of your sound, it sort
yeah.
of provided that good dose of throwback energy. And I wanted to know, this is unrelated, but in terms of establishing those connections, I mean, is it difficult at first, like when it comes to DMing somebody you want to work with, or has it gotten easier over time?
Dude, honestly, I'm at the point now where I just shoot my shot. So, if they respond, hell yeah. But
Have
if they
you had
don't,
like dead air where it's just like you've tried and like just no response?
oh, dude, that's to me, that's being a musician in a nutshell. Like, I send so many emails and DMs, and you're lucky
Nothing,
if you get
just
a
ghost
response.
town.
Nothing. Yeah. Even sometimes you'll see even red. They're just like opening, like, what the hell's this? I don't know why. I mean, that's my assumption. But yeah, I've had so many times where I just message people on, for shows or whatever,
It just
collaborating.
got you
Yeah.
permanently in the scene like the friend zone,
Yeah.
but they call
Yeah.
that the scene zone.
Yeah. For real, dude. It's true, man. So yeah, that's expected. It's been a rare occasion where, like, I think this one promoter, I want to say I was like trying to get us in LA, and he like just unloaded on me, like, quit fucking emailing me, blah, blah, like, just quit spamming my email. I said 2 emails, but he said I was
Oh,
spamming. Yeah. And he like kind of, said some other stuff. And I was like, okay, I'll leave you alone. Sorry, dude.
yeah. It's tough,
Yeah.
man. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, ridicule is kind of easy to take because you
Mhm.
know that person is like, shitty towards you and all of that. But then, like, that, again, there's that indifference, the leaving you permanently in the scene zone. So,
Yeah.
like, how did you learn to, like, brave that initially and, like, get, like, thicker skin and, like
Dude,
guys, we gotta plunge on, even though we're in this fucking scene zone.
dude, you just kind of like, yeah, I'll give an example. I'm not gonna say who the musician was, but we actually hit up a musician to be on the record, and he left us on red. You know what I mean? And we were kind of like, we're bummed. We're like, I mean, it is what it is. But like I said, it happens so often that you kind of become. I hate to say, you can become almost numb to it. So you shoot your shot, you miss, whatever. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You
And you
can't.
just, I guess you just got to keep on plugging, you know,
Yeah,
like,
just keep on trucking, man. That's all you can do. That's all you can do.
and then
Mm-hmm.
as far as your new album, Axon,
Mm-hmm.
how's that coming along and what themes do you hope to bring out to the world stylistically, lyrically, all of that?
Oh, dude, this one's definitely like a journey. And it was funny too. Like one day after practice, we listened to the whole record. It's still being mixed right now. So some songs had a couple mixes, and other songs just raw out of the studio. The raw version we're gonna hear, and we listened to the whole thing on a drive after practice, and we're like, man, this is fucking great. Like this is great. Like, but we were like, people are either gonna hate, like they're gonna love it, or they're gonna be like, man, what the hell were they on? Like,
It's
because
probably gonna be your In Utero album.
dude, seriously, like it's okay. So you heard Simeon, right? So the
Yeah.
second single sounds absolutely nothing like Simeon. Like almost could be a different band.
So you can, so you still kind of incorporate more melodic influences too?
Yeah. We incorporate melodic influences, and this one, dude, I was actually talking with another podcast, and I was telling him, we incorporate, there's elements of like the second single. My brother calls it the Megadeth Mars Volta song. So literally, to him, it sounds like Megadeth and Mars Volta.
You know how
Uh,
like when you make songs and you write like temporary file names that you want the
yeah,
songs to be?
yeah, that was that one.
The
I forgot what we
Megadeth
called it,
song.
like Volta Death or something we used to call it, or I think we called it Mars Death. That was the scratch track, Mars Death, and then
That was the project file name.
yeah, I want to say it was Mars Death because Mars Volta, Megadeth, yeah, and then the third single that we're gonna put out, it's actually like I told the other guy, I was like, it's like a Red Hot Chili Peppers song without Anthony Kiedis.
Wow.
Like it's almost funky. It's got like a like the verse to me sounds like a something you'd hear from like a mid '90s Chili Peppers song. But like my brother's like heavily, but the only difference is like my brother has like heavy distortion
Wow.
over the yeah.
So
So
like
like,
Scar Tissue and like Aeroplane
no, not
and
even before that. Like I'm thinking like kind of like Blood Sugar or even
oh,
like
so
Red
like
Hot
early
Minute.
90s too, like
Yeah. So
91.
it's got almost got like that vibe, and then the track after that, it starts off like a doom metal song. Could be like a Black Sabbath or like the Sword even that
Yeah.
style. But then it goes into a like a dance beat like for a verse.
Well, I know like
Yeah.
earlier you were into like I thought like you were drawing from like Dance Gavin Dance a little
You know
bit.
what's funny? The first time someone told me that, they were like, "You guys sound like Dance Gavin Dance," and I had never even heard of them. Like I was like,
Because they
"Who?"
have like this kind of nonsensical, kind of
Yeah,
random, kind of groove,
yeah,
danceable groove to their
mhm.
music.
Yeah, dude. So like and I actually had to go and check them out. I was like, "What the hell?" I mean,
Like
I'm not sure.
when you listen to like Death to a Strawberry, you know like where
Yeah,
those grooves come from.
hmm yeah. Now we've gotten that comparison a lot, and what's funny too is like none of us in the band are like I said, I had never even heard of them. My brother like didn't even I don't even know if he was a fan or not. I don't know he's not a fan. For sure he's not a fan. But but yeah, so I always thought that was funny. But yeah, people always throw the random bands we sound like, like when we had the female vocalist, people would be like, "Oh, y'all sound like
Paramore,
Flyleaf,"
right?
or Flyleaf or Paramore, and they were just associated with any female fronted band that they could think of off the top of their head. I always thought that was funny. But yeah, dude, like the tracks on this album, they're all over the place, man. We got a track that's like an instrumental track and it has a saxophone solo. Um, there's a song that could be on like like a early to mid '90s Incubus song,
Wow.
like Science Era, and
Yeah.
then we have a closer. It's like a Megadeth song with like probably like the funkiest slap bass drop ever.
Wow.
And then we close it out with like a trip hop New York kind of sound um song like to close out the record.
That's really
Yeah,
awesome, man. And
it's all over the place.
how has the production process really brought it together? Who would you thank in that regard?
Oh, dude, so we have a fucking sick team, man. We have some of the best guys in town. Like we've been working with Chris Mora since Ozel. Um, a friend of ours tracked Ozel. Uh, his name was Sebastian, and then Chris Mora mixed and mastered Ozel, and then we had like a really good relationship with Chris, and we pretty much been working with him ever since. Um, and then we recorded and we recorded Ozel, Vessels, and Fortress with Chris,
Right.
and he mixed and mastered those, and we did guitar, bass, and vocals there. And then we had a drummer at the time. His name is Landis, and he runs a studio called Cibolo Studios, and he tracked the drums there, and he played drums on those songs too. And then yeah, so we found our team. And you know this next record is pretty much a combination of Landis Chisenhall and at Cibolo Studios and here in San Antonio, and then of course Chris Mora. He's mixing and mastering it, and Chris Mora is awesome, man. He works with Upon a Burning Body. I don't know if you've heard of them. He's worked with Kim Dracula.
Yeah.
He's like a newer artist, but he's also worked with some hip hop artists. That rapper 21 Savage, I know he's worked for. I know he even made a song for Beso Pluma. I don't know if it got picked up or not, but I know they were talking. And right now he's recording a band called Gore that just got signed to Spine Farm. So yeah, man, we have a good team behind us, man. I would definitely thank those two dudes for sure.
And these guys not only know what they're doing, but I'm sure they have a unique production style that you're drawn to.
Oh yeah, like working with Chris, you know, he has such a musical ear, like
Like, do you
melodically,
feel like
vocally.
things like pop out like in certain spots of each song thanks
Oh
to
yeah, dude. He hears things, and you know he's a musical genius, dude. I feel. And then Landis is just a fucking sick drummer, sick engineer. His studio is top notch, probably the best studio in town. You know what I mean? So it's you know, so we're very lucky to have these people behind us backing us.
hmm
Mm.
And how would you say overall the bond between you guys has strengthened over the years?
Between me, my brother and I, or the band itself, or the
Yeah, the
engineers.
band itself.
Yeah, man. Me and my brother, we're passionate, dude. We want to, you know, like I said, we started the band when he was 17, and we've been working hard, man. You know, so it's just that drive to, you know, try and take it as far as we can. So that's what constantly keeps us going. You know what I mean? We want this band to be a bigger band. We feel we should be a bigger band. I mean, but yeah, that's definitely the driving force. Is you know you know, it's my little brother, me and my brother, little brother at the end of the day. So we want the best for each other
hmm
ultimately.
And
Mhm.
considering the career you've had thus far, what have you learned about yourself, not only as a musician, but as a person?
Oh, dude, I would say I feel I'm very patient, patient, and you know, and like I said, just take like taking whatever gets thrown at you. You know, it sucks at the time, but eventually everything gets worked out in the end somehow, some way. You know what I mean? You can move past whatever you know is thrown at you. You can just like I said, it usually everything works itself out in some way. So I definitely learned that about myself. You know, just you got to roll with it and move on. And so definitely to be stronger, more confident, for sure. I'd say those two things.
hmm
Mm.
Lastly, anything you'd like to say to your fans?
Yeah, thank you for always listening to our music. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for anyone who's ever streamed our music, even just like commented on a you know our Instagram, or or even after a show, saying probably the nicest things ever to us. It blows my mind that because you write a song and you don't think, you put it out in the stratosphere, you don't know what's going to happen, what's going to be said, how it's going to affect people. But then when people come up to you and say things like your song saved my life and I was going through some stuff and it helped me, like you're just like, wow, like, so thank you for that stuff. You know what I mean? It's pretty crazy to hear. Or like, thank you for all the compliments, my bass playing or my brother's guitar playing or whatever, there are just the band as a whole. Thank you for, you know, just everything. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to our band. Yeah.
And thank you for coming on and
Mm-hmm.
having this talk with me. I really appreciate it. And it's cool that we can have common ground, as musicians and
Mm-hmm.
sort of
Yeah.
have this dialogue. Our backgrounds, our upbringings are kind of similar, having
Cool.
grown up in the 90s. So, I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
No, man. Thank you so much, man. It means a lot. Seriously. Thank you.